My back hurts. Maybe yours does too. It's a dull ache. Sometimes it's a sharp pain. It's a reminder that my body isn't quite perfect. I sit in a chair and my spine compresses. I stand for too long and my feet ache. I twist the wrong way and my knee complains. It's easy to feel like this whole setup, this upright, two-legged design, is a bit of a disaster. A project rushed out the door with a lot of known bugs, and that raises a big question. Was standing up a huge evolutionary mistake? Did our ancestors, somewhere back on the African savanna millions of years ago, make a catastrophic error in judgment? Did they trade a perfectly good four-legged existence for a life of chronic pain, difficult childbirth, and wobbly balance? The short answer is complicated. It wasn't a mistake in the sense that it doomed us. It clearly didn't. We're here, we run the planet, but it was a trade-off, a massive high-stakes trade-off. Well, we gained the world, but we paid for it with our bodies, and the bill comes due every time we get out of bed in the morning. To understand if it was worth it, we have to look at the full balance sheet. We have to examine the cost item by painful item. Let's start with the spine. On a four-legged animal, the spine works like a suspension bridge. It's a graceful arch, supporting the weight of the organs hanging below it. It's an elegant piece of engineering. When we stood up, we took that bridge and turned it on its end. We made it a tower, a wobbly, unstable tower. It's now a stack of bony blocks, the vertebrae, with little jelly-filled shock absorbers, the discs in between. All of our upper body weight presses down on this single column. Gravity becomes a relentless enemy. It's constantly trying to crush our discs. That's why we get shorter throughout the day. It's why a slipped disc can cause so much agony, pressing on nerves that were never meant to be so crowded. To make this tower even remotely stable, evolution had to introduce curves. We have an S-shaped spine. It helps with balance and shock absorption, but it also creates points of extreme stress, especially in the lower back and the neck. Lower back pain isn't a modern invention caused by office chairs. It's a fundamental design flaw of being human. Our skeletons bear the fossilized evidence of ancient ancestors who suffered from arthritis and spinal problems, just like us. The spine is a mess. It's a brilliant, improvised mess, but a mess nonetheless. Then, there are our feet. Apes have feet that are basically a second pair of hands. They are flat with a grasping big toe, perfect for climbing trees. Our feet had to be completely redesigned. They had to become rigid platforms to support our entire body weight. The big toe moved in line with the other toes to help us push off the ground. We developed an arch to act as a spring, absorbing the shock of each step. This is an amazing piece of biological engineering. But it's also incredibly delicate. The human foot has 26 bones, 33 joints, and over 100 muscles, ligaments, and tendons. That's a lot of moving parts in a small space, all bearing a huge load. And it means there are a lot of things that can go wrong. We sprain our ankles. We get plantar fasciitis, a stabbing pain in the heel from a stressed ligament. Our arches can collapse. We get bunions. Our feet are a constant source of trouble because they are a radical compromise between the grasping foot of our ancestors and the load-bearing platform we need today. They are not one thing or the other. They are a halfway point, and we feel the strain in every step. Let's move up to the knees and hips. On a quadruped, these joints mostly just bend and straighten to move the animal forward. They don't bear the full crushing load of the entire body. Our knee is now the largest joint in the body, and it's caught between the foot hitting the ground and the weight of the body coming down from the hip. It has to handle twisting forces it was never originally designed for. It's no wonder our cartilage wears out. It's why knee replacements are so common. The knee is a simple hinge joint doing a very complicated job. The hips had to change dramatically too. The hip sockets rotated to be underneath our torso rather than on the sides. The femur, our thigh bone, now angles inward from the hip to the knee. This helps us keep our balance while walking, preventing us from waddling like a duck. But it puts a huge amount of stress on the neck of the femur, that little part that connects the ball of the joint to the main shaft of the bone. This makes it a prime spot for fractures, especially as we age. A broken hip for an early human was a death sentence. For us, it's a major surgery and a long recovery, but perhaps the most profound and dangerous consequence of standing up is childbirth. This is where the evolutionary trade-offs become a matter of life and death. To walk efficiently on two legs, our pelvis had to become narrower and more bowl-shaped. It needed to provide stable support for our internal organs and anchor points for the powerful leg and buttock muscles that keep us upright. A wide, splayed pelvis is great for a quadruped, but it's biomechanically terrible for a biped. So, the pelvis narrowed. But at the same time, another evolutionary trend was happening. We were getting smarter, our brains were getting bigger. A bigger brain means a bigger head. And here is the conflict, the great obstetrical dilemma. We have a narrow birth canal, a legacy of bipedalism, and a baby with a very large head, a legacy of our intelligence. The two are on a collision course. Human childbirth is uniquely difficult and dangerous compared to almost any other mammal. The baby has to twist and turn in a precise sequence to squeeze through the bony confines of the pelvis. It's a tight fit, too tight sometimes. For most of human history, childbirth was a leading cause of death for women and infants. It's only in the last century, with modern medicine and surgical procedures like the C-section, that we have mitigated some of that risk. But the fundamental biological problem remains. We pay for our big brains and our upright posture with painful, risky labor. Other primates give birth relatively quickly and easily. For humans, it is an ordeal. It's a direct consequence of the decision to stand up. The list of problems goes on. Our circulatory system struggles against gravity. Blood has to be pumped a long way up from our legs back to the heart. The veins in our legs have little one-way valves to help, but sometimes they fail. The blood pools. We get varicose veins. The same pressure in our lower abdomen can lead to hemorrhoids. Even our blood pressure regulation is tricky. If we stand up too fast, our brain can be temporarily starved of blood, and we feel dizzy or even faint. Gravity is a constant wearying force on our internal plumbing. And then there's the simple fact of vulnerability. A four-legged animal is stable. It has a low center of gravity. It's hard to knock over. We are tall and wobbly. A simple trip can lead to a devastating fall. We are also much slower than most four-legged predators and prey. We can't outrun a lion or a gazelle. In a sprint, we are pathetic. Our vital organs are also completely exposed. Our soft belly, containing our stomach, liver, and intestines, is right out in front, with no rib cage to protect it. Right? We are upright, exposed, slow targets. From a purely defensive standpoint, standing up seems like a terrible idea. So, after all that, the case for bipedalism being a mistake looks pretty strong. We have bad backs, aching feet, dodgy knees, dangerous childbirth, and a collection of other annoyances and vulnerabilities. Why on earth would evolution select for such a fragile and problematic design? If you were designing an animal from scratch, you probably wouldn't build it this way. But evolution doesn't design from scratch. It tinkers. It modifies what's already there. And there must have been a very, very good reason for all this tinkering. There must have been a payoff so huge that it was worth the lifetime of aches and pains. And there was. The single greatest advantage of standing up is this: it freed our hands. This cannot be overstated. This is the detail that changes everything. For a quadruped, the front limbs are for walking. They are legs. For us, they became something else entirely. They became arms. And at the end of those arms are hands with opposable thumbs capable of incredible dexterity. With free hands, we could carry things. This sounds simple, but it's revolutionary. You can carry food from one place to another. You can carry your helpless infant while still being able to walk. You can carry water, you can carry tools and raw materials. This ability to transport resources is the foundation of a home base, of sharing, of planning for the future. A chimpanzee has to eat its food where it finds it. We could bring it home. With free hands, we could make and use tools. At first, they were simple: a rock to crack open a bone for its marrow, a sharp flake of stone to cut meat from a carcass. But this was the beginning of technology. The hand and the brain evolved together in a powerful feedback loop. A more dexterous hand allowed for better tools. Better tools allowed for better nutrition, like protein-rich meat and marrow. Better nutrition fueled the growth of our energy-hungry brains. A bigger brain could then imagine even more complex tools, which required even more dexterity. This cycle, running for millions of years, took us from cracking nuts with a rock to building microchips. It all started with having our hands free to do something other than walk. Our hands also became tools for communication. We can gesture, point, and sign. Our hands supplement our spoken language, adding emphasis and clarity. They allow us to teach and learn in a physical way, showing someone how to nap a flint point or weave a basket. The hands became an extension of the mind. So, that's the big one. Freeing the hands. But there are other, more immediate advantages to standing up back on that ancient savanna. When you stand up, you can see farther. The world was changing. The dense forests where our ape-like ancestors lived were shrinking, replaced by more open woodlands and grasslands. In this new environment, being able to see over the tall grass was a huge advantage. You could spot predators from farther away. You could see a cloud of vultures circling in the distance, indicating a fresh carcass to scavenge. You could spot groves of fruit trees or sources of water. It gave you a strategic advantage, a better map of your world. Walking on two legs is also surprisingly energy efficient, at least for long distances. A chimpanzee walking on two legs for a short time uses a huge amount of energy. Right? They lurch from side to side, but our bodies are built for it. The mechanics of our hips and legs, the arch in our foot, the way we swing our arms, it all adds up to a very efficient way to travel. We aren't fast, but we are relentless. We are built for endurance. A human can outwalk or outjog almost any other animal over a long distance. This ability to cover vast territories was crucial for a hunter-gatherer lifestyle. It allowed our ancestors to follow migrating herds and find scattered resources in a sparse landscape. We became marathon walkers. There's another theory about why we stood up related to the heat of the African sun. When you're on all fours, your entire back is exposed to the direct overhead sun at midday. When you stand up, you present a much smaller target to the sun. Only your head and shoulders get the full blast. The rest of your body is vertical. At the same time, standing up higher lifts you into slightly breezier air, away from the heat radiating off the ground. This would have helped our ancestors stay cool and active during the hottest parts of the day, a time when many predators would be resting in the shade. We became better thermoregulated apes, able to exploit a new time niche, so the benefits are clear. We freed our hands to make tools and build civilization. We could see farther. We could travel long distances efficiently and stay cooler while doing it. These advantages were powerful enough to overcome the serious downsides. It was a good deal evolutionarily speaking, but the story doesn't end there. The consequences of standing up went far beyond just bones and muscles. It fundamentally rewired who we are. It changed our brains, our families, and our societies. Think again about that conflict between a narrow pelvis and a large brain baby. Evolution found a clever, if messy, solution. The solution was to give birth to babies that are neurologically unfinished. A newborn horse can stand and walk within an hour. A newborn human is completely helpless. Its brain is only about a quarter of its adult size. The vast majority of our brain growth happens outside the womb after we are born. We are born premature, in a sense, so that our heads are small enough to fit through the birth canal. This has a monumental consequence. It means human infants require an incredibly long period of intensive care. A human child is dependent on its parents for many, many years. This is unlike almost any other animal. This long childhood is necessary for our big brains to grow and to learn all the complex things a human needs to know language, social rules, how to make tools. But it also demands a new kind of social structure. A mother with a helpless infant to carry and care for cannot easily provide for herself. She needs help. She needs a reliable supply of food and protection. This may be the deep evolutionary root of the human family and pair bonding. The father, or the extended family group, had to be invested in the survival of the mother and child. Standing up, freeing the hands to carry food back to a home base, made this possible. It created a new social dynamic, one based on cooperation, food sharing, and long-term relationships. Our helplessness as infants forged our social bonds. We need each other. We are born into a state of total dependence that fosters deep emotional attachments. It forces us to cooperate. You can draw a straight line from the biomechanics of the bipedal pelvis to the very existence of human love, family, and community. We are social animals not just because it's a good strategy, but because our own biology, a direct result of standing up, demands it. So, was it a mistake? No. It was a gamble. It was a risky evolutionary experiment. Standing up put our species on a new and strange path. It was a path that led to chronic pain and physical frailty. It made us awkward and slow. It turned the beautiful natural process of birth into a dangerous medical event. If you look at the human body purely as a piece of mechanical engineering, it has some serious flaws. Any engineer would point them out. The spine is unstable, the feet are overcomplicated. The knee is a weak point, but those flaws are the price we paid for everything else. They are the price of a thinking mind and clever hands. Freeing our hands allowed us to manipulate the world, to change it to suit our needs. It allowed us to create art, to write music, to build cities, to look at the stars and wonder what they are. All of our technology, our culture, our entire civilization rests on the foundation of a skeleton that decided to go vertical. The pain in my back is not a mistake. It's a legacy. It's a physical reminder of the journey our species took. It connects me to the first hominid who stood up on 2 feet and saw a new world of possibility open up before them. The gamble was that the advantages of free hands and a bigger brain would outweigh the disadvantages of an aching body. Looking around at the world we have built, it's hard to argue that the gamble didn't pay off. We survived, we thrived, we spread to every corner of the globe, we reshaped the planet. We did things no other animal has ever done. We did it all because we stood up. So the next time your back aches, or your knee clicks, or your feet hurt after a long day, you can think of it as the price of admission. It's the cost of being human. It's the echo of a profound choice made millions of years ago. It wasn't a mistake. It was the painful, awkward, and brilliant beginning of us. It was the moment we stopped being just another ape in the forest and started on the long, difficult road to becoming human. And for better or for worse, there was no turning back. The deal was done. We traded a body built for comfort for a body built for curiosity and creation. It's a hard bargain, but one that ultimately gave us everything.